Some of you are wrestling in the midnight hour, tossing, turning, crying, waiting for an answer. But I came to tell you today, there is a power in the night watch. There is a power when the world is asleep and you are calling out in the darkness. When you get up at 3 a.m. to pray, you are stepping into a realm where chains break, where doors open, where battles are won before the sun even rises. Somebody say, it's my time. You see, breakthrough doesn't come when it's convenient. It doesn't come when you feel like it. It comes when you're willing to sacrifice your comfort, your sleep, your distractions, so you can tap into a power that only reveals itself in the secret place. That's why I'm here to tell you today, if you want to see a shift in your life, if you are desperate for a change, if you are tired of running in circles, then it's time to learn how to pray at 3 a.m. Because in that hour, when the world is silent, heaven is listening. When you wake up at 3 a.m. to pray, you are stepping into a moment that is different from any other time of the day. This is not just another prayer. This is not just another routine. This is warfare. This is power. This is an open heaven moment where things in the unseen world begin to shift. You see, the night watch has always been a time of deep spiritual activity. The forces of darkness are moving, but so is the divine power that overrides and overturns everything they try to establish. At 3 a.m., the world is still. The noise of the day has died down. The distractions that keep pulling at your mind have finally been silenced. It is in this moment that you're able to enter into the most undisturbed, uninterrupted presence of divine power. This is the hour where destiny is called forth, where chains that have been on your life begin to break, and where the heavens open over you in ways you may have never experienced before. If you study the patterns of those who walk in great authority, those who carry power in their lives, you will notice something. They don't sleep when others sleep. They don't wait until it's convenient to pray. They rise before the sun, they step into the darkness, and they call forth light. There is something about praying when the world is silent that allows you to hear with greater clarity. In the stillness, when the world is at rest, you begin to recognize the voice that has been speaking all along. But let me tell you something, this is not easy. This is not comfortable. The body wants to rest. The flesh wants to sleep. You will feel the weight of your eyelids trying to pull you back down into your pillow. You will feel the temptation to say, just one more hour, just one more moment. But breakthrough doesn't come to the comfortable. Change does not come to those who wait for the perfect conditions. Breakthrough belongs to those who are willing to step out when it's inconvenient, who are willing to push past their weariness and say, this is my hour, this is my moment. I will not sleep while my destiny is hanging in the balance. This is where you begin to fight. This is where you begin to call forth what has been held back. At 3 a.m., you don't pray small prayers. You don't whisper weak requests. This is when you lift your voice, when you decree and declare with boldness. This is when you say, every chain that has held me captive, break right now. Every delay that has kept me from moving forward, be removed in the name of divine authority. Every door that has been shut in my face, I command you to open. There is a reason why the most intense battles are fought in the early hours of the morning. There is a reason why those who carry deep wisdom and authority understand that some things cannot be won in the daylight. Some victories are only secured in the silence of the night. When you rise at 3 a.m. to pray, you are not just speaking words. You are shifting atmospheres. You are moving in a dimension where the unseen world begins to respond. So if you are desperate for change, if you are tired of the cycles, if you are ready to see something different in your life, it's time to take your prayers to another level. It's time to set your alarm, to rise with intention, to step into the battle, and to pray like everything depends on it. Because at 3 a.m., when the world is asleep, the heavens are awake and the power is moving. When you prepare to wake up at 3 a.m. for prayer, you are not just setting an alarm, you are setting an intention. You are making a decision that before the sun rises, before the world pulls you in different directions, before distractions creep into your mind, you will seek something greater. This is not an ordinary time of prayer. This is not something you do casually or half-heartedly. This is a moment where you align yourself with power, where you position yourself to hear what others cannot hear, to see what others cannot see, and to receive what others will never reach because they are too asleep to pursue it. But let me tell you something, prayer at this hour does not start when you wake up. It starts before you even go to sleep. It starts with preparation. It starts with setting an expectation in your heart. Because if you go to bed without purpose, you will wake up without direction. If you go to sleep distracted, you will rise disoriented. That is why before you even close your eyes at night, you must decide what you are waking up for. You must settle it in your spirit that you are not just getting up to whisper empty words in the dark, but you are rising with an assignment. You are rising with authority. You are rising to break chains and open doors. Your mind must already be positioned for what you will do when you wake up. You must enter sleep with a sense of mission, because let me tell you, the moment you wake up, your body will fight you. Your thoughts will try to pull you back into sleep. Your comfort will whisper, not tonight. That is why you must already have your answer ready before the temptation even speaks. You must already have settled it. I am getting up because I need a move of power in my life. I am getting up because I cannot afford to stay in this cycle another year. I am getting up because I refuse to let another season pass without stepping into my breakthrough. And when that alarm goes off, don't you dare hesitate. Don't give your body a moment to convince you otherwise, because the longer you delay, the stronger the resistance becomes. When your eyes open, move. When your spirit stirs, get up. Because breakthrough does not come to the hesitant, it comes to the determined. This is why preparation is everything. Before you even go to sleep, you must clear your mind of distractions. You cannot spend the whole night consumed with entertainment, with conversations that drain you, with activities that leave your spirit empty, and then expect to wake up and enter into deep, powerful prayer. What you feed yourself before you sleep determines what you carry into your prayer. If you fill your mind with worry, if you let your last thoughts be anxiety, if you let your heart go to bed heavy with frustration, then when you wake up, that is what will greet you. That is why you must take time before bed to shift your focus. You must create an atmosphere that invites divine presence into your night. Some of you need to stop scrolling before bed. Some of you need to stop feeding your mind with things that do not edify you. Some of you need to turn off the noise and spend time in reflection, in gratitude, in expectation. Because when you set the tone before bed, you set the pace for when you wake up. And let me tell you, this is not just about waking up once or twice. This is about making it a discipline, because real power is built in consistency. The first few times it might feel like a struggle. Your body will resist it. Your mind will question it. But if you keep showing up, if you keep rising, even when it's hard, if you keep pressing in, even when it's uncomfortable, something will shift. What was once a struggle will become a hunger. What was once difficult will become your desire. And when that happens, you will step into a level of power that most people never access because they were never willing to push past the resistance. So when you wake up at 3 a.m., don't just wake up for the sake of waking up. Wake up with direction. Wake up knowing why you are rising. Wake up prepared, because the way you position yourself before you pray determines what you will receive when the clock strikes 3 a.m. and you pull yourself out of sleep. There is a battle that begins. Your body wants to stay in bed. Your flesh craves the comfort of the pillow. Everything in you is telling you that you need more sleep, that you can pray later, that there is no urgency. But let me tell you something. If you listen to your flesh, you will miss what has been prepared for you in the spirit. If you let comfort dictate your decisions, you will stay bound in the same cycles, year after year, wondering why nothing is changing. This is why one of the most important things you must do when you wake up for prayer is to break the barriers of the flesh. Because your flesh will always resist what your spirit is trying to access. Your body's not interested in breakthrough. Your body is not interested in deep encounters. Your body wants what is easy, what is convenient, what is comfortable. But if you want to step into power, if you want to step into a new level of authority, if you want to see doors open that have been shut for too long, you must learn to override the voice of your flesh. You must learn to rise even when it's hard. You must learn to push through the tiredness and step into the presence of the one who holds your destiny in his hands. Think about it. The most powerful moments in history did not happen when it was convenient. They happened when someone was willing to push past their limits. They happened when someone was willing to sacrifice their comfort. They happened when someone said, I refuse to let sleep rob me of what I need. I refuse to let my body dictate my future. I refuse to stay in this place when I know there is something greater waiting for me. That is the mindset of someone who walks in breakthrough. That is the mindset of someone who refuses to stay stuck. And let me tell you, this is not easy. There will be nights when everything in you wants to quit. There will be nights when you wake up and feel nothing, hear nothing, experience nothing. There will be nights when you question if it's even worth it. But let me remind you, this is not about feelings. This is not about whether or not you feel something shift immediately. This is about discipline. This is about consistency. This is about showing up even when you don't see the results yet, because breakthrough does not happen over. The problem with so many people is that they give up too soon. They start praying at 3 a.m. for a few days, maybe a week, and when they don't see immediate change, they stop. But let me ask you something. How long have you been in this situation? How long has this cycle been repeating in your life? How long have you been waiting for something to change? If it took years for you to get to this place, don't expect everything to shift in just one night. You must be willing to stay the course. You must be willing to keep pressing in. You must be willing to wake up night after night, knowing that even if you don't see it yet, something is happening in the unseen realm. And let me tell you, the enemy knows this. The enemy knows that if he can keep you comfortable, he can keep you bound. If he can keep you focused on your tiredness, he can keep you from stepping into your breakthrough. That is why the battle is so intense. That is why the resistance is so strong, because if you ever get past the barrier of the flesh, if you ever push beyond the exhaustion, if you ever step fully into this level of prayer, everything will change. So when you wake up at 3 a.m., don't expect it to be easy. Expect resistance. Expect your body to fight you. Expect your mind to tell you to go back to sleep. But also expect this. If you keep pushing, if you keep pressing in, if you keep showing up, something is going to break, something is going to shift, something is going to be released over your life. And when that happens, you will look back and realize that every sacrifice, every tired morning, every moment of struggle was worth it, because nothing compares to walking in the power that is waiting for those who refuse to let the flesh win. When you rise at 3 a.m. to pray, you are not just getting out of bed. You are stepping into an atmosphere that must be set with intention. You cannot stumble into this moment carelessly. You cannot approach this kind of prayer with a casual attitude, thinking that just waking up is enough. No, when you wake up, you must position yourself for breakthrough, because if your posture is weak, your prayer will be weak. If your focus is scattered, your prayers will lack power. If your heart is distracted, you will miss the fullness of what is available to you in that moment. The way you position yourself in prayer determines the results you see. Some people wake up at 3 a.m. and sit on the edge of their bed, whispering a few tired words before falling back asleep. Others wake up and wander around the house, letting their thoughts drift instead of focusing on why they got up in the first place. And then they wonder why nothing is changing. But let me tell you, breakthrough doesn't come to those who pray half-heartedly. It doesn't come to those who approach the throne with distracted minds and wandering hearts. It comes to those who position themselves with expectation. It comes to those who wake up knowing that they are about to enter a moment where heaven meets earth. It comes to those who set an atmosphere where the presence of divine power can move freely. This is why you must be intentional about your environment. When you wake up at 3 a.m., you need to remove anything that will pull your mind away from the purpose of your prayer. If your phone is a distraction, leave it in another room. If your bed is calling you back to sleep, don't sit on it, get up, move, stand, pace the floor if you have to. If your space is cluttered and filled with distractions, prepare it the night before so that when you wake up, you are stepping into a place that invites focus, not confusion. And let me tell you, your atmosphere is not just about the physical space, it's about your mindset. When you wake up at 3 a.m., you must come with expectation. You must come knowing that something is about to shift. You must come believing that you are stepping into a moment where doors can open, where battles can be won, where chains can be broken. You cannot come into this moment doubting, questioning, or half believing. Because if you don't believe that something is going to happen, you won't pray like you need it to happen. If you don't believe that this prayer matters, you won't push through when it gets hard. If you don't believe that this moment is powerful, you won't position yourself to receive what has been prepared for you. Think about it. When a soldier goes into battle, they don't just show up unprepared. They don't walk onto the battlefield without armor, without weapons, without strategy. They come ready. They come knowing that what they do in that moment will determine their victory or their defeat. And if a soldier wouldn't enter a battle unprepared, then why would you enter prayer that way? Why would you wake up at 3 a.m. and approach the throne with a weak, distracted posture? You must step into this moment as a warrior. You must step into this moment knowing that this is a battle for your breakthrough, for your destiny, for your family, for your future. You must step into this moment with a mindset that says, I will not waste this hour. I will not allow distractions to steal this moment from me. I will not allow doubt to weaken my faith. I will not leave this place the same way I came. And let me tell you something. When you come to prayer with that kind of posture, when you come with that kind of focus, when you come with that kind of expectation, something begins to happen. The atmosphere shifts, the weight that has been pressing on you begins to lift, the burdens that have been holding you back begin to break, the doors that have been locked begin to open, because you are not just praying, you are engaging with power. You are not just speaking words, you are commanding situations to align. You are not just hoping for a change, you are stepping into the realm where change is activated. This is why some people never experience breakthrough. They pray, but they don't position themselves for breakthrough. They wake up, but they don't prepare their hearts. They say words, but they don't expect results. And let me tell you, if you don't expect to see change, you won't see it. If you don't prepare for transformation, you won't experience it. If you don't set your atmosphere, you will stay in the same place, wondering why nothing is shifting. But that will not be your story. You will not wake up and waste this moment. You will not approach prayer weakly. You will not let distractions steal your focus, because you know that this hour is too powerful to take lightly. You know that this moment is too significant to be casual about. You know that if you position yourself correctly, breakthrough is inevitable. So when you rise at 3 a.m., rise with intention, rise with expectation, rise with the confidence that says, this is my time, this is my moment, and I will not leave this place empty. When you wake up at 3 a.m. to pray, you must understand that this is not just a quiet moment in the night. This is a battleground. This is a spiritual war zone where destinies are fought for and won. When you open your mouth in prayer at this hour, you are not just speaking words into the air. You are shaking the very foundations of your situation. You are engaging in warfare against every force that has been working against your progress. You are stepping into a dimension where divine intervention is released, where unseen battles are decided, and where the course of your life can be shifted in an instant. But let me tell you, in this battle, your authority is in your voice. This is not the time for timid prayers. This is not the moment for whispered, hesitant words that lack conviction. This is the moment where you declare, where you command, where you release power into the atmosphere. Because the unseen realm does not respond to weak prayers. It does not move when you speak with uncertainty. It does not shift when your voice is filled with doubt. You must understand that when you rise at this hour, you are standing in the gap between what is and what will be. You are standing in the place where generational chains are broken, where long-standing barriers are destroyed, and where everything that has been delayed is released. Some of you have been waiting for a shift. You have been waiting for something to change, for something to move, for a breakthrough that seems just out of reach. And let me tell you, breakthrough is not given to those who wait passively. It is taken by those who dare to rise in the night and decree with authority. It is taken by those who understand that when they speak, their words carry weight. It is taken by those who refuse to let circumstances dictate their destiny. Because let me tell you, everything in your life is waiting for your voice. Every delay, every closed door, every obstacle, it is all waiting for you to rise up and command it to move. But here's the problem. Many people pray, but they do not decree. Many people ask, but they do not command. Many people hope, but they do not declare. And this is why they do not see results. Because the unseen realm does not respond to begging, it responds to authority. When you pray, you must pray with the confidence that you are not pleading for something that is beyond your reach. You are enforcing what has already been set in motion for you. You are declaring that what has been held back must be released. You are commanding what has been stagnant to begin to move. You are not asking passively. You are taking possession of what has already been prepared for you. Let me tell you something. There are some things in your life that will not change until you open your mouth with power. There are battles you will never win if you remain silent. There are doors that will remain closed if you do not command them to open. Because silence is permission. When you refuse to speak against a thing, you allow it to stay. When you refuse to declare your breakthrough, you prolong your delay. When you refuse to command your situation to shift, you remain in the same place year after year, wondering why nothing is moving. But when you wake up at 3 a.m. and you open your mouth with authority, when you stand in the middle of your situation and you decree that things must change, that is when the shift happens. That is when the walls begin to fall. That is when everything that has been resisting you starts to break apart. And let me tell you, your words are not just affecting your life. They are affecting generations. There are battles you are winning in this hour that your children will never have to fight. There are cycles you are breaking that will never touch your bloodline again. There are struggles that have been passed down for years. Struggles that have kept your family bound. Struggles that have caused suffering and pain. And in this moment, with your voice, you are putting an end to them. You are standing in the gap and saying, this stops with me. This cycle ends here. This pattern is broken forever. But you must be bold. You must pray with fire. You must declare with unwavering faith. You must open your mouth and let the power within you be released. Because if you don't, who will? If you don't rise up and break the chains, they will remain. If you don't decree that doors must open, they will stay shut. If you don't take authority over your situation, it will continue to control you. This is not the time to hold back. This is not the time to be passive. This is not the time to let fear silence you. This is the time to pray like everything depends on it. This is the time to declare that you will not be denied. This is the time to command every force that has been standing against you to bow. Because at 3 a.m., when the world is asleep, the heavens are awake and the power is moving. So open your mouth. Decree with authority. Speak with boldness and watch everything shift in your favor. When you rise at 3 a.m. to pray, you must understand that this is not just another prayer session. This is not just another moment where you say a few words and go back to sleep. This is a divine appointment. This is a moment where the unseen realm is more active than you realize. This is a moment where access is granted to those who are willing to step into it. But here's what you must know. When you step into this moment, you cannot pray small prayer. You cannot come before the throne and ask for little things, for minor changes, for ordinary results. No, this is the hour for bold requests. This is the hour for audacious prayers. This is the hour for asking in a way that matches the greatness of the one who is listening. Too many people approach prayer with hesitation. They ask for things that are within reach, things that seem possible, things that don't stretch their faith. They pray safe prayers, prayers that don't require a miracle, prayers that don't challenge the limits of their belief. And then they wonder why they don't see extraordinary breakthroughs. But let me tell you, the size of your request reveals the size of your faith. If you are only asking for what seems reasonable, you are limiting yourself. If you are only asking for what seems possible, you are not tapping into the supernatural. If you are only praying for what makes sense, you are missing the power of this hour. Because this is not the hour for small prayers. This is the hour for mountain-moving prayers. This is the hour for impossible requests. This is the hour for declaring things that don't make sense in the natural but are fully possible in the supernatural. When you wake up at 3 a.m., you must come before the throne with the confidence that nothing is too big, nothing is too far gone, nothing is beyond restoration, nothing is beyond redemption. You must pray with the kind of boldness that shocks even you. You must open your mouth and ask for things that make no sense to your mind, but are fully within reach for the one who holds all power. Because when you pray bold prayers, you activate bold results. When you stretch your faith, you make room for the impossible. When you stop limiting your requests, you start seeing limitless breakthroughs. But let me tell you what happens when you start praying this way. Your mind will resist. Your thoughts will try to convince you that you are asking for too much. Doubt will whisper that your request is too big, too unrealistic, too outrageous. And this is where many people stop. This is where many people shrink their faith to match their doubts instead of enlarging their faith to match their God. But you cannot afford to do that. You cannot afford to let doubt rob you of what is possible. You cannot afford to let logic dictate what you believe for, because logic will always try to reduce your faith to what seems realistic. But faith is not about what seems realistic. Faith is about stepping into the realm of the impossible and declaring that it will be done. And let me tell you, there are things waiting to be released in your life, but they are waiting for you to ask. There are breakthroughs on hold because you have not had the boldness to request them. There are doors that remain closed because you have not dared to knock with confidence. There are blessings that have been prepared but are waiting for you to step up and say, I believe for this. I receive this. I will not settle for less than what has been promised to me. Think about it. If you could ask for anything in this moment, what would it be? What is the thing that seems too big, too distant, too impossible? That is what you should be asking for. That is what you should be declaring. That is what you should be speaking into existence. Because when you come before the throne at 3 a.m., you are not speaking to a limited power. You are speaking to the one who created all things, who holds all things, who controls all things. So why would you ask small? Why would you shrink your request? Why would you limit what is possible? Let me tell you something else. Your bold prayers are not just about you. They are about the generations that come after you. They are about the people connected to you. They are about the legacy you are building. There are breakthroughs that you are securing in this moment that will change the course of your family's history. There are shifts that will take place because you dared to ask. There are cycles that will be broken because you refuse to pray small. There are victories that will be won because you chose to believe for more. But you must ask, you must declare, you must come with confidence. You must refuse to settle, because this is your moment. This is your hour. This is your time to pray with a boldness that shakes the heavens, that moves the mountains, that unlocks what has been locked, that releases what has been delayed. This is your time to believe for the impossible and watch it become possible. This is your time to step into a new level of faith, a new level of power, a new level of breakthrough. So when you wake up at 3 a.m., don't pray small. Don't hesitate. Don't shrink back. Open your mouth, lift your voice, and ask like you know that what you declare will be done. Pray like you believe that nothing is too hard. Pray like you know that this moment is powerful. Pray like you refuse to leave this hour empty, because the level of your request determines the level of your breakthrough. And if you dare to ask boldly, you will see results that are beyond anything you have ever imagined. When you wake up at 3 a.m. to pray, you are entering into a moment where you must not only speak, but you must also listen. Too many people rush into prayer with a list of requests, pouring out their desires, their needs, their struggles, and then they get up and walk away before they have received anything in return. They pray and they leave, they speak and they go back to bed. But let me tell you something. Prayer is not a one-way conversation. It is not just about what you say, it is about what you hear. It is about what is being revealed in the silence. It is about the instructions that are being released in the stillness. Because sometimes your breakthrough is not in what you ask for, it is in what you are willing to listen to. And this is where so many people miss it. They cry out for answers, but they don't wait for them. They plead for direction, but they don't stop long enough to receive it. They ask for wisdom, but then they move on before wisdom has had a chance to speak. And then they wonder why they are still confused, why they are still stuck, why they have been praying, but nothing seems to be shifting. Let me tell you why. It's because they have been doing all the talking, but none of the listening. They have been pouring out their needs, but they have not been waiting for the response. They have been declaring what they want, but they have not been positioned to receive what they need. But when you rise at 3 a.m. and you make the decision that you are not just going to speak, but you are going to listen, something changes. When you silence your own thoughts and you tune your ear to what is being spoken, wisdom begins to flow. Direction begins to come. Clarity begins to break through. And suddenly what seemed confusing before becomes clear. What seemed uncertain before becomes obvious. What you were wrestling with before suddenly settles in your spirit, because you have created space to hear what you could not hear when you were rushing through prayer. And let me tell you, some of the greatest answers you will ever receive will come in the moments when you are silent. Some of the most powerful revelations you will ever experience will not come in the noise, but in the stillness. Some of the most life-changing instructions will not be given when you are busy speaking, but when you are quiet enough to listen. Because there are things that are being spoken over your life, but you have been too distracted to hear them. There are solutions that have already been released, but you have been too restless to receive. There are instructions that have been waiting for you, but you have been moving too fast to recognize them. And this is why you must train yourself to be still. This is why you must discipline yourself to wait. This is why you must resist the urge to rush out of prayer and instead linger in the presence of divine wisdom. Because if you can learn to listen, you will gain access to what others miss. If you can learn to wait, you will receive clarity that others are still searching for. If you can learn to silence the noise, you will hear solutions that have been waiting for you all along. But here's the thing, listening requires patience. It requires trust. It requires the willingness to sit in the silence, even when it feels uncomfortable. And this is where many people struggle. They don't like silence. They don't like stillness. They don't like the feeling of waiting without immediate results. And so they fill the space with their own words. They fill the moment with their own thoughts. They keep talking because they think that if they stop, nothing will happen. But let me tell you, something is happening in the silence. Something is shifting in the stillness. Something is being deposited in your spirit when you quiet your mind and allow yourself to receive. And let me make this even clearer. Sometimes your breakthrough is not delayed because you haven't prayed enough. It's delayed because you haven't listened enough. Sometimes the answer is not being withheld, it's being whispered, but you have been too loud to hear it. Sometimes the clarity you need is already present, but you have not been still long enough to recognize it. And if you can just discipline yourself to listen, you will find that the answers you have been searching for have been there all along. And let me tell you, when you begin to listen, you will start to hear things that change everything. You will hear direction that reroutes your entire life. You will hear wisdom that saves you from unnecessary struggle. You will hear insight that gives you an advantage in situations where others are lost. Because when you are positioned to hear, you are positioned to move in ways that others cannot. You are positioned to make decisions with confidence. You are positioned to walk in clarity while others are still stumbling in confusion. But you must be intentional. You must make the decision that when you rise at 3 a.m., you are not just going to talk, you are going to listen. You are not just going to pour out, you are going to receive. You are not just going to ask, you are going to wait for the response. Because in the response is your strategy. In the response is your breakthrough. In the response is your next step. And let me tell you, when you begin to practice this, you will start to see the difference. You will start to notice that your prayers become more effective because now you are not just speaking randomly. You are praying with revelation. You are praying with clarity. You are praying with an understanding that was not there before, because now you are not just talking from your own mind. You are speaking from the wisdom that has been deposited in you. You are praying with the insight that has been revealed in the stillness. You are declaring things with an authority that comes from knowing, not just hoping. And this is the shift that will take you to another level. This is the practice that will take your prayer life from ordinary to extraordinary. This is the discipline that will separate you from those who are still stuck, still searching, still confused. Because now you will not just be praying blindly, you will be praying with divine intelligence. Now, you will not just be asking for things randomly, you will be praying with strategy. Now, you will not just be hoping for breakthrough, you will be moving in direct alignment with what has already been spoken. So when you rise at 3 a.m., don't just pray, listen. Don't just speak, receive. Don't just ask, wait for the answer. Because the answer is there. The wisdom is available, the clarity is waiting, but you must be still enough, patient enough, disciplined enough to hear it. And when you do, everything will begin to shift in ways you never imagined. When you rise at 3 a.m. to pray, you must understand that this is not just a spiritual act. It is a training ground. This is where endurance is built. This is where resilience is formed. This is where you are stretched beyond what you thought you were capable of. Because let me tell you, there is a level of strength that can only be developed in the secret place. There's a level of power that can only be forged in the hours when the world is asleep, but you are awake, pressing in, pushing past the limits of your body, past the fatigue of your mind, past the resistance of your flesh. And this is where many people struggle, because they start strong, but they do not endure. They wake up with fire, but when the resistance comes, they shrink back. When the first wave of weariness hits, they roll over and go back to sleep. When they don't see immediate results, they become discouraged. But let me tell you, breakthrough is not for the weak-hearted. Transformation is not for the easily shaken. This is a battle, and battles are not won by those who pray once and give up. Battles are won by those who stay in the fight, who push through the exhaustion, who keep going when everything in them wants to stop. Because let's be real, prayer at this hour is not easy. Your body will resist, your mind will fight against it, your flesh will tell you just sleep a little longer, your emotions will try to convince you it's not working anyway, so why keep doing this? And this is where the real test comes in. Because if you can press past these barriers, if you can overcome the resistance, if you can train yourself to keep going when every part of you wants to quit, that is when you will start to see results that others will never see. That is when you will step into a level of authority that only comes from those who have endured the fire. Because let me tell you something, every great move of power is preceded by a season of endurance. Every great release of favor is preceded by a time of testing. Every extraordinary breakthrough is preceded by a process where you're stretched beyond your limits. And if you quit in the stretching, you will never see the fullness of what is on the other side. If you give up when it gets hard, you will never walk in the level of power that was meant for you. If you turn back when it becomes uncomfortable, you will never experience the transformation that comes from pushing through. So let me ask you, can you handle the process? Can you handle the training? Can you endure the moments where it feels like nothing is happening, but you keep showing up anyway? Can you keep pressing in even when your eyes are heavy and your body is weak? Can you keep believing when you don't see immediate results? Because let me tell you, the ones who see the greatest breakthroughs are not the ones who pray occasionally. They are the ones who refuse to be shaken. They are the ones who refuse to be shaken. They are the ones who understand that persistence is the key to power. And this is where many people miss it. They think that one night of prayer is enough to change everything. They think that if they wake up and pray for a few minutes, the breakthrough should appear instantly. And when it doesn't, they get frustrated. They become discouraged. They start to doubt. But let me tell you, prayer is not about a one-time effort. It is about consistency. It is about showing up again and again, even when you don't feel like it. It is about proving that you are serious, that you are committed, that you are willing to pay the price for the results you want to see. Because let's be honest, anyone can pray when they feel like it. Anyone can seek when it's convenient. Anyone can pursue when there's no resistance. But what about when it's hard? What about when the results are delayed? What about when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when you feel like giving up? That is the real test. That is where endurance is proven. That is where power is developed. And let me tell you, if you can push past this test, you will step into a level of strength that others will never understand. You will begin to walk in a level of confidence that only comes from those who have fought through the weariness and refused to quit. Because once you have endured the process, you will know that nothing can shake you. Once you have pushed through the resistance, you will realize that you have developed a level of spiritual stamina that cannot be broken. Once you have trained yourself to stand firm, even when you feel weak, you will understand that you are no longer at the mercy of your emotions, your circumstances, or your feelings. And let me tell you something else. This endurance is what will set you apart. Because while others are giving up, you will still be standing. While others are growing tired, you will still be pressing in. While others are losing hope, you will still be moving forward because you have developed something that cannot be taken from you. You have built a foundation that cannot be shaken. You have trained yourself to keep going no matter what comes against you. And when you get to that place, nothing will be impossible for you. Because now you are not just praying from a place of momentary passion. You are praying from a place of unshakable discipline. Now you are not just seeking when it's easy. You are seeking because you refuse to stop. Now you are not just hoping for change. You are enforcing change through the power of your endurance. And this is why endurance is so powerful, because it separates those who are truly serious from those who are only seeking convenience. It reveals who is willing to pay the price and who is only looking for shortcuts. It exposes who is ready to step into real transformation and who is only interested in temporary results. Because endurance requires commitment. It requires a decision that says, no matter how long this takes, I will not stop. It requires a determination that declares, even if I don't see the results today, I will be back tomorrow. It requires a mindset that refuses to settle, that refuses to quit, that refuses to be moved by anything other than the certainty that breakthrough is coming. So let me challenge you, develop endurance. Train yourself to keep going. Build the discipline that will sustain you when others fall away. Because the ones who endure are the ones who will see the greatest breakthroughs. The ones who refuse to quit are the ones who will experience the fullness of what has been promised to them. The ones who stand firm are the ones who will walk in power that others will never understand. So when you wake up at 3 a.m., don't just pray, commit. Don't just show up once, keep showing up. Don't just seek for a moment, seek until you see the results. Because if you can endure, if you can persist, if you can refuse to give up, you will step into something greater than you ever imagined. And when you do, you will know that it was all worth it. Because the endurance that you develop in this secret place will carry you through every battle, every storm, every challenge. And once you have that kind of strength, nothing will ever be able to stop you. When you rise at 3 a.m. to pray, you must understand that this is a moment of war. This is not just a peaceful, quiet prayer session where you say a few words and go back to sleep. No, this is warfare. This is where battles are fought and won. This is where strongholds are broken. This is where chains that have been holding you back for years begin to shatter. This is where generational cycles of failure, struggle, and pain are confronted and destroyed. This is where you step into the battlefield of the unseen and take back everything that has been stolen from you. And let me tell you something, if you think that the forces working against you are just going to sit back and let you walk into breakthrough without a fight, you are mistaken. The moment you decide to pray at 3 a.m., the moment you make up your mind to seek with intensity, to push with power, to go deeper than you have ever gone before, opposition will rise, distractions will come, attacks will intensify, your body will fight against you. Your mind will be flooded with doubts. Your emotions will tell you that you are wasting your time. And this is where many people lose the battle, because they are not prepared for the fight. But let me tell you, if you want breakthrough, you have to be ready for war. If you want real transformation, you have to be willing to fight for. Because there are forces that have been working to keep you stuck, to keep you weak, to keep you confused, to keep you in a cycle of failure. And they are not going to let go easily. They will resist you. They will try to discourage you. They will try to convince you that prayer doesn't work, that nothing is changing, that you might as well give up. But this is where you must stand your ground. This is where you must declare, I will not be moved. I will not back down. I will not stop praying until I see my breakthrough. Because let me tell you, every breakthrough requires a battle. Every victory requires a fight. Every time you step into something new, you must be prepared to push through resistance. And the problem is, too many people want the results without the warfare. They want the promise without the process. They want the victory without the fight, but that is not how it works. If you want to see real change, if you want to break free from the things that have been holding you back, if you want to step into a level of power and authority that you have never experienced before, then you must be ready to fight in prayer like never before. And let me make this clear. This is not a fight that you win with weak, passive, half-hearted prayer. This is not a fight where you whisper a few words and hope for the best. No, this is a fight that requires intensity. This is a fight that requires fire. This is a fight where you open your mouth and declare with boldness that every plan that has been set against you is being destroyed. This is a fight where you command every chain that has been holding you to break. This is a fight where you refuse to accept the lies that have been spoken over your life and instead declare the truth with authority. Because let me tell you, the enemy is not afraid of weak prayers. The enemy is not intimidated by routine, lifeless words that are spoken without faith. But when you begin to pray with fire, when you begin to pray with passion, when you begin to pray with the kind of faith that refuses to back down, that is when things begin to shift. That is when darkness begins to flee. That is when breakthroughs begin to manifest, because now you are not just praying from a place of routine. You are praying from a place of war. And let me tell you something else. Some battles will not be won until you get aggressive in prayer. Some strongholds will not break until you rise up and declare with authority that you refuse to be bound any longer. Some cycles will not end until you confront them with intensity and refuse to accept them as your reality. Because there are things that have been oppressing you, limiting you, keeping you from stepping into your full potential. And they will not just disappear on their own. They must be confronted. They must be broken. They must be cast down. And this is why you must pray with urgency. This is why you cannot afford to be passive. This is why you must take your prayers to another level. Because if you keep praying the same way you have always prayed, you will keep getting the same results you have always gotten. But if you decide that enough is enough, if you decide that you are going to war in prayer, if you decide that you will not stop until you see transformation, then things will begin to shift in ways you never imagined. And let me tell you, this is not just about you. This is bigger than you. Because when you break through, you are not just breaking through for yourself. You are breaking through for your family, for your children, for generations to come. There are things that have been operating in your bloodline for years, patterns of poverty, patterns of sickness, patterns of depression, patterns of fear. And you have been called to break them. You have been positioned to put an end to them, but you cannot do that with weak prayers. You must fight, you must war, you must rise up in the spirit of boldness and declare that every generational curse, every pattern of struggle, every limitation that has been following your family ends with you. And let me make this even clearer. If you do not confront these things in prayer, they will continue. If you do not rise up and break them, they will keep moving from generation to generation. And this is why you must fight now. This is why you must refuse to be silent. This is why you must take your place as a warrior and pray with a level of intensity that demands results. Because when you do, you will see walls come down. You will see barriers be removed. You will see things that have been resisting you suddenly lose their power, because now you are not just speaking, you are declaring with authority. Now you are not just hoping, you are enforcing change. Now you are not just praying, you are waging war. And let me tell you, when you learn to pray like this, nothing will be able to stop you, because now you will not just be waiting for things to change, you will be making them change. Now you will not just be reacting to attacks, you will be taking authority over them before they even manifest. Now you will not just be hoping for breakthrough, you will be walking in breakthrough as a result of your persistence in prayer. So let me challenge you, when you rise at 3 a.m., don't just pray, fight. Don't just speak, declare. Don't just hope, command. Because your breakthrough is on the other side of your intensity. Your victory is waiting on the other side of your persistence. Your transformation is available, but you must be willing to go to war for it. And when you do, everything that has been resisting you will have no choice but to bow. Everything that has been standing in your way will have no choice but to move. Everything that has been holding you back will have no choice but to break, because now you are not just praying, you are fighting, you are warring, you are standing in authority. And when you do that, nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you from stepping into everything that was meant for you. When you rise at 3 a.m. to pray, you need to understand that this is not a casual exercise. This is warfare. This is the time when you engage in spiritual battle, when you confront the forces that have been fighting against your progress, and when you call on divine intervention to break every chain. Many times we hear people talk about breakthrough, but they don't realize that breakthrough doesn't come without a cost. It doesn't come without a struggle. It doesn't come without a fight. And so when you wake up at 3 a.m., you're not just praying in peace. You're stepping onto the battlefield, ready to engage in a spiritual war that will determine your destiny. When you enter this time of prayer, there is a battle taking place in the unseen realm, and it is a battle for your future, your peace, your success, and your freedom. And it is a battle that demands intensity. Too many people underestimate the power of 3 a.m. prayer. They think it's just about waking up early and saying a few words. But it is so much more than that. This is a critical moment where you draw a line in the sand and declare that every force that has held you back, every demonic power that has tried to stop your progress, every generational curse that has been passed down to you will have to let go. The enemy is not going to give up territory without a fight, and neither should you. You must fight for what you know God has promised you. You must be determined to lay claim to the things that belong to you and refuse to let anything or anyone keep you from them. And here's the reality. Prayer at 3 a.m. is a test of your commitment. It's easy to pray when everything is calm, when you feel comfortable, when you have energy. But what about when you're tired? What about when your body is screaming for sleep? What about when the distractions are endless? That's where the real challenge lies. Are you willing to sacrifice the comfort of sleep for the power of breakthrough? Are you willing to fight through your fleshly resistance, through your weariness, through your distractions, and press into the presence of God? It's for those who are willing to endure, to press through the difficulty, to fight through the discomfort, and to press on in prayer despite all odds. This is why the 3 a.m. prayer is so powerful. The quiet of the early morning is not just a moment of stillness, but it's a moment where everything in the physical world is quiet and the spiritual world is awakened. This is the time when the heavens are open and angels are moving on your behalf. This is when the Holy Spirit is stirring, ready to give you the power you need to break through. But you must show up. You must be willing to fight. You must show up with expectation, with urgency, with a sense of purpose, and a determination that says, I will not leave until I see my breakthrough. Too often, people are passive in their prayers. They sit back, hoping that things will change, hoping that God will do something without actively engaging. But that's not how it works. God is calling you to rise, to stand firm, and to engage in battle through prayer, because when you do, you're not just waiting for something to happen. You're making something happen. You are enforcing the kingdom of God over your life. And in doing so, you are declaring war on everything that has been holding you back. And let me tell you, if you engage in this battle, if you show up every night at 3 a.m., pushing through the tiredness, fighting through the doubt, and praying with fire and intensity, you will see things change. But it won't be instant. Some breakthroughs take time. Some strongholds take time to break. Some chains need more than just a surface prayer. They need a deep and aggressive approach. This is where endurance comes in. The enemy is not going to back down easily, but you must be committed to pushing until something changes. You must be willing to fight with every ounce of strength you have, even when you don't see results right away. And here's the secret: your consistency, your endurance, your refusal to quit in the face of resistance. That is what unlocks the breakthrough. It's the persistence in prayer, day after day, week after week, month after month, that wears down the resistance in the spiritual realm. It's like a hammer striking the same place again and again until the stone finally cracks. You might not see the change immediately, but trust me, something is shifting in the unseen. Every time you pray, every time you engage in that 3 a.m. battle. And here's the power of this 3 a.m. prayer. It's not just about what happens in that moment. It's not just about the breakthrough you're praying for today. No, this is a process that is laying the foundation for your future. This is a time where you are building spiritual strength, where you are learning to trust God in deeper ways, where you are aligning yourself with His will, and where you are gaining the authority to speak into your situation with power. There are some things that will not move until you have prayed them through at 3 a.m. There are some doors that will not open until you have fought for them in prayer. There are some breakthroughs that will not come unless you've been willing to engage in the battle with a heart that says, I will not let go until you bless me. This is why 3 a.m. prayer is so vital. It's not just a time to ask God for things. It's a time to engage with God's power. It's a time to put yourself in a position where you can receive the strength and the wisdom that you need to move forward in your life. It's a time to pray for your family, your future, your calling, and your purpose. It's a time to ask God to reveal things that have been hidden, to expose the works of darkness, and to bring His light into areas that have been bound in darkness. It's a time to declare that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, that every plan of the enemy will fail, and that you are walking in the victory that God has already secured for you. So when you wake up at 3 a.m., don't just pray for a few minutes and go back to sleep. Understand that this is a time to contend for your destiny. This is the time to claim the promises of God for your life. This is the time to rise up in the authority He has given you and to take back everything that the enemy has stolen. This is the time to ask for breakthroughs that will impact not only your life, but the lives of those around you. This is the time to declare the kingdom of God over your home, over your marriage, over your children, over your finances, over your career, and over your health. This is the time to war for your future and to know that with every prayer, you are shifting things in the spiritual realm. You are making progress. You are taking ground. You are setting the stage for a breakthrough that will be seen in the natural, but it will first be won in the spirit. And remember, every moment of battle you engage in during those 3 a.m. hours is not in vain. Even when you feel tired, even when you wonder if your prayers are having any impact, trust me, they are. Because when you stand firm and fight with intensity, God honors your persistence. He honors your commitment. And He honors the fact that you are willing to show up, even when it's hard, even when you're facing resistance. The enemy cannot stop you if you keep pressing forward in prayer. You are on the winning side. You are on the side of victory. And if you will rise and continue to fight at 3 a.m., you will see the results. You will see the breakthrough. You will see the transformation that you are contending for. Just keep fighting, keep pressing, keep praying, and know that your breakthrough is coming. When you rise at 3 a.m. to pray, you need to approach it with an understanding of how powerful this time is. This isn't just another time of prayer. This is sacred ground. This is a divine moment that you have the privilege to step into, a moment where heaven and earth collide. This is the time when God is most likely to answer your prayers, when you are in alignment with His will for your life. The power of the early morning prayer, especially at 3 a.m., is not just found in the act itself, but in the willingness to submit to God's timing and authority. In those quiet moments when everything around you is still, God is stirring. His presence is waiting to encounter you in a way that it cannot when distractions rule the day. At 3 a.m., most of the world is still asleep, and this is where the first step of breakthrough begins. The world is still. The noise, the distractions, the demands of the day, the pressures of the world, all of it is paused. It's just you and God. No one else. This is your opportunity to meet with Him, to seek Him in the secret place, to pour out your heart and to listen. So often in our busy lives, we miss the stillness that God desires us to encounter. But at 3 a.m., this is your chance. The Bible speaks about seeking God early. Psalm 63:1 says, "O God, you are my God, early will I seek you." When you rise at this hour, you are honoring God's desire for intimacy, for communion, and for you to seek Him with urgency and intent. It is a reminder that nothing in your life should take priority over your relationship with God. It is the very foundation of everything you are about to face in your day, your season, your life. This is the hour when spiritual breakthroughs can happen. We often think of breakthroughs in terms of big moments, huge victories, or dramatic turnarounds, but breakthrough often begins quietly behind the scenes in the unseen realms, and 3 a.m. is the time when these invisible breakthroughs begin to manifest. This is when the Holy Spirit is moving, breaking chains, moving mountains, and preparing the way for you. Your breakthrough doesn't always happen after the first prayer, or after the second. Sometimes it happens after you've made the decision to persist in the secret places, to endure in the quiet moments, and to keep pushing, even when everything seems the same. But at 3 a.m., God sees your heart and honors your faithfulness. He sees that you have made the time to give Him your attention and your devotion. And that's when things begin to change. In this moment, you aren't just praying for yourself. The 3 a.m. prayer is an intercessory prayer. This is your time to pray, not just for your own needs, but for others, for your family, for your friends, for your nation. This is when you stand in the gap, interceding for those who may not be able to pray for themselves. The Bible says in Ezekiel 22:30, "I looked for someone among them who would build up the wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land so I would not have to destroy it." This is the time when you become the intercessor. You become the person who stands in the gap, covering others, praying for the things they don't know they need. And in doing so, you create a pathway for blessings to flow into their lives, into your life, into your community. You are not just praying for your own breakthrough. You are helping to bring about breakthroughs for others. At this hour, you also receive divine revelation. When you rise and give yourself to prayer, especially in the quiet moments of the morning, you create an atmosphere where God can speak clearly. It is in this time that He can drop insight into your spirit. This is where God can reveal the things that have been hidden from you. This is where you are equipped with the wisdom and discernment to make decisions that will guide you in the days ahead. Your prayers during this time open your heart to hear His voice more clearly. It is a time for guidance, direction. When you wake up and dedicate yourself to this sacred time, you position yourself to receive what God wants to show you. Whether it's an answer to a question you've been asking, a direction you've been praying about, or a solution to a problem you've been facing, this is where clarity comes. But here's the challenge. Many people are not willing to sacrifice their sleep for the sake of seeking God at this hour. They want the breakthrough, but they don't want to pay the price. They want the answers, but they don't want to sacrifice the comfort of their bed. They want the victory, but they don't want to press through the tiredness and the fleshly resistance. But this is the test. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where you prove to God that you are serious about your breakthrough, that you are willing to go the extra mile, that you are willing to fight in prayer. Because breakthrough doesn't come easily. It comes through persistence. It comes through your dedication. It comes through your decision to rise above the distractions and the comfortable excuses. It comes through the sacrifice of the flesh for the glory of God. In the stillness of 3 a.m., there is also a powerful connection that occurs. When you rise to pray at this hour, you are not just offering up requests to God, you are aligning your spirit with His. This is a moment where God begins to mold your heart, to refine your character, and to build your inner strength. It is the crucible where God purges and prepares you for the next season. You see, God doesn't just want to bless you, He wants to prepare you for the blessing. He wants to build your faith, your endurance, your ability to trust Him, even when the circumstances don't align with your expectation. It's during these early hours, in the quiet moments, that He can work on you deeply, aligning your will with His. And this is the preparation you need for the breakthrough that's coming. Because God doesn't just want you to have a breakthrough in your life. He wants you to be ready to steward the breakthrough. When you rise at 3 a.m., you are also making a declaration that God is your priority. When you choose to sacrifice your rest and rise in the stillness of the morning, you are telling the enemy that nothing will stand between you and God. You are declaring that you will not allow distractions, tiredness, or the busyness of life to take the place of your intimate time with God. And this declaration is power. It serves as a signal to the enemy that you are taking your place as a child of God, that you are taking authority over your life, and that nothing will deter you from your purpose. This time at 3 a.m. is more than just asking for things. It is about positioning yourself in the right place spiritually. And the enemy will try to prevent you from doing this. He will try to use your flesh to stop you. But when you make the decision to rise and pray, you make a bold statement. God, I seek you first, and I will do whatever it takes to draw near to you. This sets the tone for your day, your week, your life. In the end, your breakthrough at 3 a.m. is about more than just the immediate request you're praying for. It's about setting a foundation of faith and obedience in your life. It's about showing God that you trust Him enough to rise when He calls, to seek Him when others sleep, to press in when others pull back. It's about becoming a person who knows how to stand in the gap for others, who knows how to seek God's face, and who understands the power of consistent prayer. It's about becoming someone who is ready to walk in the victory that God has for them, ready to receive the answers to prayer that are on the way. And that, my friends, is the power of praying at 3 a.m.